There you
Okay,
go.
right. He's going to fire away with a discussion session on a good question. Observation. Peter, did you enjoy that? Peter Harvey?
Um, yes, I enjoyed it. Very thought-provoking. Um, but comment, my only comment is on so often with these presentations on is there life elsewhere, intelligent life, etc. Is I just feel that the possibilities, the statistics are so much in favor of life elsewhere. So where are they? And quite honestly, and they mentioned it at the end there, it's just the time and distances involved and the probably short duration of intelligent life is probably a big factor as well.
Yeah, the effective distances are, hundreds, thousands of light years at least, and going on for millions of light years. I mean, if somebody sent out a signal a million years ago, and then we see it on Earth now, and we get all excited, but what for? That was a million years ago. You don't know what happened in the meantime in that whole civilization. And the other thing is focusing, coming back to Earth. Sometimes you get a very interesting ancient archaeology article on YouTube or whatever. I mean, there are patterns, for example, in similar structures, pyramid-like structures in opposite sides of the Earth, with very similar pictures in them, and it's dated to be like 16,000 years old or something. So one wonders if we look at our current civilization. I mean, we developed our current technology just within a few hundred years at most, to the point that we have it now, to where we're sending rockets out in space, and we've got radios and TVs and cell phones and artificial intelligence and all kinds of things. Um, that I don't believe that the basic human intelligence has changed that much in a very long time. 100,000 years ago, a million years ago, even maybe other civilizations could have developed at the same rate in the past on Earth. So just that point of view, I find fascinating as well. I mean, and the same could be out in outer space. But what I think what is interesting to me is if we can find any kind of life in those underwater oceans on those, what are they, Jupiter's moons, the one with is it Enceladus. So looking forward to whatever probe goes in under those oceans at some stage.
Yeah.
And again, Mars still holds potential. So again,
Yeah. Derek, sorry, could I just first of all thank that this whole series has been absolutely superb. As far as I'm concerned, you can start again from the beginning. But just to mention, when you talk about ancient civilizations, there's a guy called Eric Klein. He's world renowned on the Bronze Age collapse. And I did send details of his talks. He talks all over the world. He's an archaeologist.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Bronze Age Collapse. Just how in the year about 12,000 BC, all civilizations together collapsed.
Yeah, I think there was a fairly well accepted theory there about a supervolcano explosion somewhere near Indonesia at that time, where they found a deposit all around the whole Earth relating to that similar time period. So,
actually,
what theories did he have?
Yeah, no, it was 12,000. His theory was totally different. They had a very global commercialization, more or less the same we have at the moment, and all the nations around the Mediterranean, Babylon, etc., etc., they all traded together, and then suddenly, and they have documentation on clay tablets about it, and then all of a sudden, everything stopped, and they think it could have been a number of things. Invasions by what they call as the Sea Peoples, which might have been the Phoenicians, and there's a lot of information about that, and also climate change. That there was a drought, and droughts were recorded.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
All right, Peter, how about similar topics like that for study group at some stage? Ancient archaeology type.
Yeah, okay.
Are you not interested in those?
Yeah, I'm very interested. Very interested in it.
Yeah. Your mic's very soft.
Yeah,
Peter, I can hardly hear you.
I'll do some investigation on that.
Yeah. So, Elaine, did you send out an email about that person?
Fine.
Elaine?
Sorry. Yes, I did. I actually I think I sent Peter, but I'll send it again.
Yeah. So,
Yes, if you could, please, Elaine. Yeah.
Do a bit of a search and try and find stuff on it.
Yeah. His name is Eric Klein. He's the Waldorf on Eric Klein. Klein with a Kline.
Yeah.
And it's called the Bronze Age Collapse.
Okay. I think that would be interesting to have a look at that, but sometimes I just worry that, people have these bees in their bonnet about ancient astronauts and so on, and they come with theories which have got absolutely no substance or sort of actual factual evidence behind it. So one needs to just read out those a little bit carefully.
Yeah, no, he's nothing like that.
Okay.
Nothing like that at all.
Yeah. Some people, just make up stuff, or they even use AI to make up stuff, and sometimes it's got a lot of half truths in it and looks very convincing until you start digging into it. So one's got to be a little bit careful. Okay, but I think it's a fascinating topic. Yeah.
He talks.
All right, Jenny said it was a fascinating topic. You're still with us. Let's have a look. All the participants are still here. Yeah. All right. Anybody else got comments? Hi, Mick. You're falling asleep.
No, I just found it, so many. It almost just gives all the more reason to believe, it must be there, but almost how expectant we should be to really find the solution. There's just so many options out there, and it's every bit of science you uncover, you create another 10,000 theories, as it were. So I think it's just amazing that it all just becomes a bigger mystery, which to me is the whole point of all of this anyway.
Yeah, they touched on some topics here which I hadn't heard of before, and so on. That's a lot of this stuff, the other possibilities of other forms of life based on other chemicals and silicon instead of carbon and all that sort of thing. That's also all fascinating. But where they mentioned about the possibility of some exotic kind of life existing in a neutron star, that I've never heard of before. So.
Yeah. Yep. Who knows?
But it's a good exercise in logic.
Yeah.
Reasoning.
No, fascinating. Thank you. Very good.
All right. If everybody's getting hungry and would like to knock off, or has somebody still got something else to contribute?
Got to go to the next meeting.
Thanks, Mick. Thanks for attending.
Thank you.
Hi, Derek. It's Mokaba here.
Hi, Mokaba.
I've just joined. Sorry for joining in so late. I think I got the time confused. When I joined, you were talking something about the distance of the light that we see from other stars.
Yes.
And you mentioned that, I mean, it's not something that we can be happy about. I mean, if that light traveled a few million light years to reach us, surely by now or in real time, that stars might not be there. So it got me thinking of the recent discovery made by the James Webb Space Telescope, the exoplanet K2-18b. Those signatures they discovered, I think it's dimethyl sulfide and something like that.
Yes.
Can it be that even those signatures, I mean, that planet, it's over 120 light years away? So can it be that those gases or those signatures are in real time, or can it be that they are 120 light years old, in which I believe in real time, maybe it's something different? I don't know if my question makes sense, but yeah.
So 120, I mean, that means that it's taken 120 years for that signal to get to us. But the signal
Yes.
is the signal of that chemical compound. But
Yes.
if I remember the article correctly, I think it was it's a sort of a bit of a 50-50 conclusion as to whether it's any indication of life or not. They needed to get,
Yes.
they're not 100% certain that that is what they detected as well. So they need to try and nail it down to a narrower, what they call, I think they found it, statistically speaking, they called it a 3 sigma, something like that, and they needed to get it to a 5 sigma analysis, a much more accurate analysis to determine a reasonable probability that it was caused by life and not by some other process or something like that. So it depends on the quantities they found and where it is and whether it is exactly what they found or whether it was something slightly different. Yeah, so there are different readings and different, contradictory findings and so on about it. So it's not exactly conclusive, but it remains interesting and it has potential. If they could refine the analysis in future with more accurate readings and so on, perhaps with all the many of the new telescopes going up, they'll find some other way of refining their findings. So yeah, there's potential out there. It's very interesting times, especially with James Webb and so on. And perhaps we should have a session focusing on James Webb findings, actually, because I haven't been able to myself to do that enough. And I think it's all very, very fascinating. It's new, it's groundbreaking, cutting edge stuff, new findings, and creating a lot of questions and puzzles for astronomers and scientists. So for a cosmological session, just for cosmology, we should actually have a session focusing on James Webb finding. And if we can get an expert on who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, I know it is quite interesting what James Webb is discovering. But my question is, I mean, apart from the light that we see from the stars, other signals or other signatures, do they take the same duration to reach us, or because they are different signals or whatsoever, is it a different matter?
It's essentially electromagnetic signals travel in a vacuum at more or less the same speed. They sometimes get slowed down by intervening stuff a bit, but what generally tends to happen if the space is expanding, that's the current theory anyway, space in between is expanding, and then the frequency gets stretched, but the time for the signal to reach us doesn't change. But for example, you have redshift. In other cases, of course, you have blue shift, where you have a galaxy, for example, that's spinning around, in the half of the galaxy that's spinning towards us would actually have blue shift, and the part that's spinning away from us has got red shift. So there are various things happening to the light, but they generate, it's a frequency shift, but the patterns, the analysis of the molecular elements in the spectrographs, the pattern remains the same. It's just the frequency for the whole pattern shifts. So you cannot still identify an element or molecule according to the frequency and the pattern analysis or the absorption spectrum, absorption and emission spectrums that can be analyzed to tell us what molecules we're looking at. But it's just the red shift or blue shift that shifts.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
I mean, if you've got an inhabited planet just 120 light years away, you know, there could be movement between us and them. There'll be some slight red and blue shifts, but it will take the 120 years to reach us, the signal.
Yes, yes.
So that's it. So, but I mean, even in 120 years, a lot can happen. I mean, that civilization could have died out if it's a signal from a civilization, or a chemical signal of the, which indicates life, even though it's not sophisticated or intelligent life, but it indicates chemical processes going on which could only be caused by life. You know, something could have happened. They could have been hit by a meteor or whatever. You know,
Yes.
50 years
Yes.
after we saw the signal, and so 50 years down the line we'll stop seeing the signal. So, you know, yeah, it's a difficult one. That's the problem. The distances are the problem. It's the
Yeah.
time that we take to see the signals, and then what could happen in the meantime to them and to the sender and to us, the receivers. You know,
if I may
we could
just
be
say
gone.
that the development of life to the evolution of intelligent life, whatever that is, I think it is so meteoric. Well, in the history that we know on this planet, it is so meteoric, and I think that the destruction of our intelligent life species is also going to be very short-lived, and I don't see why that shouldn't be the same all over the universe.
Yeah, it's Einstein's
Agree with you, Peter.
it's Einstein's way of looking at things that happen here, why should they happen any different anywhere else in the universe?
That's my case. That's my case.
No, thank you so much, sir. That was quite informative. Thank
Makaba,
you.
sorry, just remind me where you're from. Are you from
I'm
Cape Town?
originally I'm from Limpopo. I grew up in Pretoria, and currently I'm based in Randburg.
Oh, in Randburg, okay. Well,
Yes, sir.
you're welcome. I
And
see
Makaba, sorry you
attended our
you
sessions
joined
quite a
late
bit.
there, but as soon as Derek sends through the link, I'll pass that on. That'll probably be tomorrow, so you'll be able to watch the whole thing.
Okay,
Oh,
but
okay,
it
fantastic.
was
Thank
very
you, sir.
interesting. So just watch it again on YouTube, and also I've got the transcript in a PDF, just to read through if you want to scan through for facts and so on. So Peter will send that as well.
And
I will
Makaba, you're
definitely.
on. You joined. You got the invitation from ASSA VIP, did you?
Yes, I did. It was
Okay,
just
that's fine.
last week. It was
So
just
when I send
last
it
week. I
out
was
to
very
ASSA,
sad.
then you'll get it. Yeah.
Okay, yes, I do get the invitation. It was just last week. I was very sad. I could not join the Starship session. The SpaceX Starship session. I was really looking forward to it. But the Zoom link was never shared. I think I sent an email around 7, but it was late already. Yeah, but I'm sure it was quite an interesting session.
An email about that, so we can try and figure out what happened there.
I
And
did.
the other thing is, Peter can send you the link to that as well, which was the recording was uploaded to YouTube. Unfortunately, I hit the record button a few seconds into the session, so the very beginning, but you don't miss much at the beginning. It's just the first minute or two that you miss. But then the rest of it is all there. The discussion, you can actually hear most of the questions as well afterwards. It's also very interesting. All right.
Okay, no, I will really appreciate it. I will really appreciate it. I will just drop Peter an email just as a reminder. I will really
Okay, thanks.
love to do a
we've
catch up
also
on
got a
that
very
session.
interesting session coming up on the 20th of May. The speaker, Amanda Sikifus, is a planetary expert, and ISIS. We haven't actually got. I don't know if you've got the details of what she's going to talk about yet, Peter. You got that?
Derek, we haven't received anything today from Amanda, unfortunately. So I think I'm going to have to look. If I get it tomorrow, I'll pass it on to Onerous Manor. But I have a feeling that they have their regulations,
Yeah.
and it just might be too late. So we'll have
Yeah.
to laugh off
We
Onerous
normally
Manor.
come with a topic which is cutting edge and new findings and new research and so on. And there's been a study, an article on a potential Planet 9 just last week, I think, and I think she is actually one of the experts on that, and she might also talk about that. So yeah, that the 20th looks like it will be a very interesting session as well, and that's going to be in person, but will also be transmitted on Zoom, so you can attend that on Zoom as well.
Okay,
So
and the location for
it will only be starting at 6 p.m. We always start all sessions at 6 p.m.
Okay. No, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
So we'll make sure we get you the Zoom link for that as well, in case you want to attend that.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Change it to turn
Thank you.
around.
All right. Thanks everybody for your attendance. Anybody else got something they urgently want to share with us?
No.
Nothing for the moment. All right. We'll see you all again next time. I think the next topic, I had it up here. Let me see if I can find it. All right. So 29. Are the first stars really still out there? That's the next one in this series, which that sounds like quite a fascinating title again. So that also actually talking about James Webb, I think it's going to have an influence there. So that'll be an interesting one. Are the first stars still out there? We're looking at that old question. All right. See you then next time. And thanks for your attendance.
Hey, thanks, Derek. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Cheers.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks very much.